Hello everyone, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll enjoy today's video. Hey, have you ever felt like you were on an island when it came to your music? Think back to when you were a kid, to when you were younger, and there were particular musical artists that you loved so much and listened to, and you didn't know if you were the only one in the world, or you felt sometimes like you were the only person in the world that understood and got this artist and was into it and was listening to their music. I mean, in a way, I felt that way kind of with the Beatles way back when I was a kid, into middle school and high school. There was no internet then. There was no, YouTube music community or Beatles community. There were no means of contacting or communicating with other people at a touch of a finger to hear their thoughts and see how much they love the Beatles as well. There was none of that. I mean, if you were lucky, you were a member of maybe a snail mail fanzine or something, and you got a publication once a month or two, and that kind of told you that there were other fans out there, but they were out in the abyss. They were somewhere else. Maybe some of you were fortunate, and you had personal friends in your own direct life, family or friends that were Beatle fanatics as well, and they loved the band. That's great. I didn't have that. I had acquaintances, people from high school and school that liked the Beatles, and through my fanaticism, they would kind of get into the Beatles a little bit, but they really weren't into it like I was. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like I was alone. I felt like I was the only Beatle maniac out there in my life back then. And it was kind of isolating in a way, because you were wondering, like, geez, I wonder if there's other Beatle nuts out there like me. Well, now we know today there are, right, folks? There's millions of them, and some of them are you right now that I'm speaking to. But I didn't know that back then, before we had technology like this. Well, obviously then the internet came in and everything, and there you go. Now we just found each other. We discovered each other, okay? We're a family now. Okay, that's my little spiel about that, about using the Beatles as my example. But think about it. There's a lot of other musical artists that you probably love and that I love that you still kind of feel like you're on an island. You're into them, even in this age of technology and internet and everything else, but you don't see a lot about them out there. They're kind of those forgotten artists that are maybe, fly below the radar, so to speak. And you're not sure, like, gee, am I the only person that still remembers this artist, that still loves them, that still is into them? That can happen. And I could sit here all day and give you numerous musical artists that I love that are in that category. But the one I want to focus on today is one I want to pay tribute to. His music has meant a lot to me. I'm going to give you my quick scenario and story about him, how I came to enjoy and love this artist. And it comes with a little bit of sadness because he is no longer with us, unfortunately, and that breaks my heart that he passed away so young. And I hope he in some way knows how much fans like I loved him and his music, and I hope his family and friends know how much he is loved just outside of his inner circle of home and family where he came from, and that there's many of us out here that love his music. And that artist is named Tommy Keene, Keene, Tommy Keene. He was born in June 1958 in Bethesda, Maryland. Grew up in that area, the greater Washington, Maryland, Delaware area. And he became a very well-known musical artist in that region for many years, in the early to mid-'80s especially. Tommy was fortunate enough that his music, which I will label as rock and roll, but then you could also call it power pop as well. You know what a power pop fanatic I am, but it's rock and roll. It's rock and roll. Tommy was so talented as a songwriter and singer and musician that he landed a major label record deal with Geffen Records in 1986. His first album, Songs from the Film, was released on Geffen Records. What an accomplishment. Think about it, folks, to achieve something like that. Here's the back cover of it. I'm going to show you the album right now on Geffen, the old Geffen label. And I got this album, I heard the song, which was the hit off it, called Places That Are Gone. I heard it on a local station back then in the mid-'80s that played, believe it or not, played, recent rock and roll, not just older stuff, old classic rock. And here's the inner sleeve. His bandmates in the Tommy Keene band, and there's Tommy. And so I went out and bought that album, Songs from the Film, and I loved it. I got into it. I was just, wow, it's a great musical artist, my kind of music. Well, like anything else in life, folks, you get away from things for a while. Life gets in the way, right? For good or bad. We get married, we have kids. Maybe we don't do that, but we get a new career after college or high school. We get caught up in our work, caught up in day-to-day life, things we have to do, responsibilities and whatnot. Maturing, that bad thing, having to mature. Anyway. And you forget things. Things get put on the wayside. Things, hobbies, things that you loved as a younger person, younger man or woman, get put on the wayside, and you live your life. Well, that happened for me on some level, and many levels, and one of them was with Tommy Keene. I had that album, Songs from the Film. I loved it. I can't tell you how many times I played that thing, and I got away from him. It kind of drifted away, and I got, slipped into my record collection pile, and there it sat for years. And CDs became big, and I wasn't playing my vinyl anymore, so I wasn't apt to pull it out and be reminded of it again. All of a sudden, 1997, over a decade goes by. I have little kids now, kids of my own. They're getting bigger. They're getting into things, and my career's going along, and I've been married many years now, and Rhino puts out this collection, and I had to buy it. I wasn't buying a lot of music back then, but I had to buy this. It's called Poptopia, Power Pop Classics. You got 3 discs. There was the one from the 70s with a bunch of great power pop classics from the 70s. I don't know how good you're going to see that. You got one from the 80s. Okay. And one from the 90s. Great series. Very hard to get now, by the way. If you try to look for this, I wish you well. I hope you can find it. It's fabulous. But Power Pop Classics of the 70s, 80s, 90s, Poptopia on Rhino, very hard to get. But I got it at the time, because you know me, I'm a Beatles and Power Pop fanatic. But I listened to the 80s one, and what do you know, track 14 is Places That Are Gone by Tommy Keene. And folks, it sparked me all over again. I said, I took out my Songs from the Film album, hadn't played vinyl in a long time, started playing that. Went out and was able to find this, a Show Tunes Tommy Keene Live CD. That was out at the time, fairly new disc at that time, kind of his newest one, I think, at that time. Grabbed that, got so into it again. Didn't start buying a lot of Tommy Keene, but I was just getting back into the music again. And then I started to go back a little bit as time went by. I went and bought the earlier EP of his. He released some localized EPs back in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area back in the early to mid 80s. So I picked this one up, Places That Are Gone, Tommy Keene. 6 tracks on here, alternate mixes of some of the songs that ended up on his first major label release. And it's on the Dolphin label, so I thought I'd show you the label. Nice little label, some dolphins on it. Pretty cool. I even at one time got my Tommy Keene Places That Are Gone t-shirt. I haven't worn this in ages. Figured I'd show you that. And as recently as 2015, I picked up what ended up being his final studio album right here. Laugh in the Dark by Tommy Keene, came out in 2015. Great album, folks. I can't recommend this enough. Fabulous. This is a wonderful rock and roll power pop album. And here's the label. Nice label. So I just started getting into Tommy Keene again. Like I said, over the years, just listening to him again, making him part of my rotation. and always wanted to see him live, always did. And he did come in my area a couple of times, and I forget, there were just things that were happening then in my life that I couldn't get to the show, or something else was scheduled, or who knows what it was. But okay, I'll see him. I'll see him eventually. You know, he'll be coming around, because Tommy's only a couple of years older than I am. And sadly, folks, November of 2017, just a little over 2 years ago, Tommy passed in his sleep, they believe from cardiac arrest, and bless him that he passed in his sleep peacefully at the age of 59. And what a sad day for me when I heard that Tommy had passed. And you know, I know the rest of the music world, it probably didn't even register, you know. I don't know how great it was reported anywhere, and it probably wasn't. He wasn't like a major artist like, you know, some of the ones we know and love so much out there, but he passed away, and it just brings a lot of sadness to me. And I just felt I wanted to do a tribute to him, and I just wanted to let him know how much he is loved. His music is loved by fans like myself. I want his family and friends to know that his music and Tommy's memory will never die with people like me. We love him and his music, and I just want to give all my best sympathies and regards to his family and friends, his loved ones. He was a special man, a special talent, and he will be missed. I also wanted to show you this, buying little trinkets of artists I love here and there. I was able a few years ago to pick up this Tommy Keene press kit, which to me, you know, it's a valuable keepsake to me of Tommy Keene. It's got a little writing on it and that. I got it used at a record store, but it's on Geffen Records press kit. You open it up and you get this beautiful kit. You get a little prose about Tommy and his career here. You get some, charts of his music, charting, and articles in Rolling Stone, how some of his EPs got, 4 and 5 stars from Rolling Stone magazine. It's just a wonderful little press kit with articles about Tommy and his career and his great music. And this is just a keepsake, a memento that I will never part with. I love it so much, Tommy Keene, and how his EP, Places That Are Gone, was #1 on the EP charts here in The Voice. Okay, so just great stuff. And then a beautiful, to me, on Geffen Records logo is on it, but a beautiful press photo of Tommy. There's the Geffen logo there, Tommy Keene. So I just wanted to give some recognition to Tommy and let you all know that his music is fabulous. If you can get a hold of some, either through streaming service, or if you can get some hard copies, that's even better. To support him, or at least check out his music and see what you think. I think you'll love it. I love it. And miss Tommy every day. I wish I had the chance to see him live. I never did. That's a regret I'll always have. But I just want you to know, let's not forget artists like this. These are those forgotten artists who we think no one else knows about out there. Well, I'm here to tell you, I love him. I love his music, and I will always listen to his music, and it will always be part of my life. So thank you, Tommy. Thanks to his family and friends. Thanks to you. Check out some Tommy Keene. Bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.